Hi everybody, Shannon Petrovich with Therapist Talks. Why do empathic people get drawn in by malignant narcissists? Malignant narcissism is understood to be a mix of extreme narcissism with antisocial behavior, aggression, and sadism. Why do empathic people get drawn in by them, and how can you see that person for what they really are and get out? Malignant narcissism is not in the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, but it's a term we use in the therapeutic field to describe the most extreme version of these personality traits, including paranoia, antisocial behavior, a lack of empathy, a lack of conscience, an extreme need for power, and getting satisfaction in cruelty, or what we call sadism. Of course, like all mental health disorders, this runs the entire spectrum from mild to very severe, the severe being a gang leader or serial killer. In previous videos, I've shared how do you know if you're involved with a narcissist and on domestic violence. If you haven't watched that, please do, it'll be helpful too. Malignant narcissism has the typical 9 narcissistic traits, but they have them very rigidly and severely. So these include being arrogant, grandiose, very preoccupied with money, success, power, beauty, brilliance. They believe they're special and very much above others. They require an excessive amount of admiration and continual praise and adoration. They have a sense of entitlement and get very angry when the focus is on others. They're very exploitative of others' needs, and they lack empathy. They are also very envious of others. The malignant narcissist adds to this list. The first thing they add is sadism. So a sadist gains enjoyment from the pain, suffering, and humiliation of others. They willfully inflict this suffering to gratify themselves and to control others. On the milder end, this may be verbal, emotional, and mental. That person is the one who gets joy out of shaming or cyberbullying, vicious gossip to the point that they bring someone to devastation. The person thinks that's entertaining. This can also be the early stages of an abusive relationship where the person brings you to tears with degrading and humiliating badgering to mentally and emotionally put you down. At the more extreme end, this becomes physical abuse, causing physical pain to gain control. Number 2 is really important for empathic people to understand. The malignant narcissist is calculating in their manipulations. All narcissists manipulate others' emotions and their actions to get what they want and to have others think of them the way they want to be thought of. In milder terms, this is the person who makes you feel sorry for them or envious of them, or they make you like them and make you feel like you're lucky to be with them. They're the opportunist. They see vulnerability and take advantage of it for their own ends. But the calculating manipulator feels sadistic power in each of their manipulative wins. They are more forceful, they're less subtle, and they manipulate others with a smorgasbord of tactics, including gaslighting. So a lot of you have been talking about gaslighting lately. This is one of the most harmful forms of mental and emotional abuse. It tears down a person's sense of self, their confidence, even their sense of what's real, until you literally don't know what's real or not. Often a person in this type of a relationship feels their partner is wonderful and they are very flawed and lucky to be with him at all. They see his degrading of them as warranted and justified, and if they could just be more perfect, he would finally be happy and they'd live happily ever after. Gaslighting confuses and disorients you to make you feel like you're crazy, that you're very substandard, and that he has to tell you these things in order to correct and help you. As you're more and more confused and disoriented, the narcissist gains more and more control. The other most harmful and effective form of manipulation is love bombing. Love bombing is essentially overwhelming the empathic person in the beginning of the relationship to disarm their natural guardedness so they don't question the direction and speed of the relationship. It does this by adding elements of confusion, flattery, dependency, and an air of destiny into the mix. It can be utterly overwhelming to be on the receiving end of this bombardment. The empathic person begins to feel they have a unique and special bond with that person. The empathic person starts to believe that there's something really special, really good. It's a romance like you see in the movies, a whirlwind of excitement and exhilaration. These acts of manipulation are calculated, planned, and honed over years of use until they reach their peak of effectiveness. And this is one of the key dangers of malignant narcissism. Gradually, the free will of the empathic person is diminished as they grow ever more confused and helpless to remove themselves. The other manipulation that happens and creates a lot of confusion is volatile anger. Many people say the narcissist has volatile moods. Well, that may be true, but in my experience, this is one of the main go-to manipulations that he or she will use. They explode in a calculated way and to the degree needed when they perceive any challenge to their control. If the empathic person backs off and apologizes and corrects the challenge to their control, the anger ends. If not, look out. This can escalate all the way to extreme violence. Since the empath wants to know what's wrong and is likely to take the blame and try to accommodate the narcissist, over time, the narcissist is training the person to behave the way they want, and the empath is afraid to step out of that sphere of controlled, allowed behaviors. Number 3, antisocial behaviors. Antisocial simply means the person doesn't respect or value the rights or boundaries of others. So this includes being a pathological liar, a cheater, a thief, and being aggressive. Number 4 is these malignant narcissists are hypersensitive to criticism. Any challenge or criticism to a malignant narcissist is done at your own peril. Their sense of self is so fragile that it's easily damaged, and this feels life-threatening to them, so they'll retaliate rapidly and decisively. They'll go on the attack and hurt you and feel no remorse. In fact, if there's any blame to be had, if they do feel the need to apologize in order to put you back in their control, they'll turn it around and blame you for upsetting them. Or they'll love bomb you by saying, well, if I didn't love you so much, I wouldn't get this upset. Number 5 of the malignant narcissist is paranoia. Since malignant narcissists are completely untrustworthy, they don't trust anyone. They're suspicious of everyone and they believe others are out to get them. Since they lie, cheat, steal, and manipulate continuously for their own personal gain, they believe everyone else acts the same way. This paranoia can lead to a state of hypervigilance where they're always on the lookout for threats. They're often insanely jealous and they demand constant contact and accountability. They will hyper-control the movements and actions of their partners, constantly in fear of what they might do or say if they're not in their control. This creates a lot of isolation for the empathic person, further enhancing the gaslighting experience since they have no frame of reference and can't talk to someone and sort things out. Number 6 is the malignant narcissist completely lacks empathy. All narcissists lack empathy to some degree, but like all these traits, there is a spectrum. The malignant type will happily inflict pain and suffering on others. They ignore and invalidate any emotions shown by others. They can't feel empathy. They can't put themselves in another's shoes or relate to their feelings. It's a totally foreign concept. They feel and show no remorse for the suffering they cause, and this is how they behave in such a malicious manner. They might apologize at times, but they're really only sorry that they were caught or that you're upset. They don't really feel empathy, and their apologies, if they ever happen, are shallow and blame-shifting. Number 7, they have a complete failure to accept responsibility. If the narcissist accepts that they acted poorly, they'll justify and warp the truth to twist it into someone else's fault. They'll externalize the responsibility to something or someone else and escalate their anger and other manipulations to get you to drop the subject and let them off the hook. Usually they simply refuse to accept their actions were wrong or unacceptable. They'll flat out deny responsibility for hurt caused to others. They'll tell you you're crazy, you're exaggerating, and they won't take ownership of any undesirable outcomes they caused. Number 8, their need for attention is extreme. They feed off of it. In low-level narcissists, they might seek out mostly positive forms of attention to bolster their sense of worth, but a malignant narcissist may also get as much negative satisfaction from negative attention. They may enjoy playing the villain or the bully or the abuser. And as stated above, they're not afraid of confrontation or fighting in the moral, intellectual, or physical sense. Number 9, their delusions of grandeur are extreme. They have an inflated sense of their self-importance. They believe they're better than others in every way. They're more attractive, more intelligent, more successful, more important. And this grandiosity is the cause of their entitlement. Since they believe themselves to be superior, they consider it necessary to be treated as such. Number 10, envy. Since their focus is on completely superficial attributes, they're consumed with envy. It's inevitable to see someone with more money, power, beauty, brilliance, and since this is intolerable, they will belittle them or put their ownership of that thing down to pure luck. They will readily sabotage someone they envy by any means available. They'll happily destroy their emotions, their relationships, their reputation, their success, and they will revel in any downturn or failure. Egocentricity. As a narcissist, it's all about them, themselves, and they. That's it. They act for their own benefit and no one else's. They talk about themselves, they need to be in the spotlight, they put others down, and they're overly concerned with their appearance, their power, their money. They see their beliefs as true facts. They are short-sighted and narrow-minded, and they're prone to oversimplifying a complex situation. Because they have to be revered, they cannot accept input or feedback, so they're impossible to work with or negotiate with. It's literally their way or the highway. And lastly, charm. Most narcissists have the ability to turn on the charm when they need to. In fact, when you first meet one, they can seem like a wonderful person. Their charms are superficial and purposeful. They're designed to manage your view of them and to create a false persona. By contrast, empathic people believe in others. They see the best in others. They empathize deeply, so they can't understand others' lack of empathy. They want to feel important to others, and so they are very susceptible to their charms. They value being there for others, so they love to feel needed, and they're willing to be the shower of praise that bolsters the deeply fragile ego of the narcissist. They feel terrible if they hurt someone, so they're easily manipulated back under control when the narcissist expresses hurt or abandonment. They need to be needed. They have a sense of meaning and purpose, and they can't understand superficial obsessions. It's obvious as we list off these different traits that the empathic person is a perfect setup for falling into a relationship with a narcissist. The narcissist needs his fragile ego bolstered, and the empath wants to make everyone feel better. The narcissist needs to be the center of attention, and the empath wants to be there for others and has no need or isn't even uncomfortable being the center. The narcissist lies, cheats, steals, and the empath believes the best in others. It's a perfect fit and a perfect dance for the narcissist to have, and it leads to the empath falling into depression, anxiety, and eventually to complete breakdown. The empath's sense of self is destroyed, and since they've been systematically isolated from friends and family, they're at serious risk. So if you're an empathic person, are you doomed to attract malignant narcissists? Maybe the answer you don't want to hear is yes. So it's critical you recognize that you have to keep your higher mind on point when you meet people and keep your deeply empathic self protected behind that rational mind. Believe in others, but see the whole picture. Learn to see more deeply into a person. Learn to see arrogance, bravado. Learn to notice vindictiveness, sadism, even in its mildest forms. That helps you know that that person is not empathic. Notice if they take up all the oxygen in the room. They might be fun to hang out with, and maybe they're the life of the party, but they're not good partner material. The know-it-alls, the ones who take no input or feedback. Notice people who are vengeful whenever they're challenged, and notice people who talk negatively about others continuously. Be your empathic self, but realize that being needed and helping others should happen in your volunteerism or your work, and your primary relationship should be where you gain refuge and you gain nurturance, where you recharge and share your day. Your home should be a place where you feel joy and safety and acceptance, where you share empathy with another empathic person. If those things are not true, if your relationship is a project, that's a big red flag, and that should tell you that this is not the one. There are several other videos you might find helpful, including domestic violence, the truth about anger, and pick a loving life partner. If you appreciated this video, please hit like and please hit subscribe. It's free and we'll let you know whenever there are new videos popping up, usually 2 or 3 a week. Take really good care of yourselves and create an awesome day.